Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, hope you're all good. Got another pedal demo today. The dudes at Wampler have brought out a brand new pedal that's a follow-on from a really popular pedal a few years back called the Tumnus. Hopefully you guys are aware of the Tumnus. It's a small form factor, little gold pedal to my left, which basically is reminiscent, inspired by those great vintage overdrive circuits that you'll have heard over the decades, used on so many people's boards. Really good sounding overdrive. So the Tumnus is kind of reminiscent of that, and now they've brought out the Tumnus Deluxe. So the Tumnus Deluxe is a follow-on from the original, only that we've got extra flexibility with our tone shaping. We have a 3-band EQ, we've got bass, middle and treble, we've also got level and gain, we've got a little toggle switch to go between normal and hot output, I'm assuming, and then on the side we've got a little switch which changes from buffered to true bypass. So they've sort of broadened the horizons of the Tumnus, and to be fair, I'm glad they have, because it's a really popular pedal and it sounds killer. So what I want to do in this video is demonstrate some of the new features the Tumnus Deluxe has to offer. For example, the EQ is extremely powerful and it can be used not only for internal purposes, but you can also use it with other pedals and other amps. So I've set up a clean amp and a dirty amp, so we'll hear how the Tumnus fares in both clean and dirty territories, and then also I'd like to team it up with another drive pedal so that we can hear how its EQ and general sound can affect other drive pedals in its path. So trying to give you all the different variables if you just want it for your pedal board or as your main overdrive for your main rig. And to do that I'm going to be using a Fender Strat and a PRS, so we've got humbucker and single coil tones, all going to be captured using my 2 Notes Torpedo Studio and recorded in with my Universal Audio Apollo 8P interface. Let's do it. Alright, so I've got my Fender Strat. At this point what I want to do is just show you the clean sound and the dirty sound without the Tumnus involved. So here we go. This is the clean sound of the V50. Now if I switch over to my Kraken, this is what we've got in the Kraken. So there's quite a little bit more gain in the Kraken, but that was the idea, to show you the Tumnus between the two. So everything's at 12 o'clock, let's try it without. And with. Instantly loads more mid-range and the volume has jumped up in volume there. Yeah, it's definitely got a nice response. It's quite a soft amount of compression, quite subtle, but it adds sustain and it helps you play a little bit more, so I like that. Again, it's just a straight up sort of thicker mid-range kind of barky sort of drive sound. I'm just going to push the gain up now. Yeah, it's a really rich sort of barky British mid-rangey kind of sound. Let's see what the headroom situation's like on the gain, on the volume. So backed it off again. Now let's push this up. Wow. Yeah, as I said, a hell of a lot more headroom than you'd expect. That really pushes it up in volume. I mean, that's a lot louder, but you can hear that it's still retaining its headroom, so it's not getting heavier even though we're pushing the front amp. Yeah, sounds good. Right. So now that we've got the gain on full and you can hear that's the kind of sound that's coming out of the pedal, nice and thick. If I push over to the hot switch now, It's definitely hotter. If you notice, when I switched over, it just sort of compressed a tiny bit more, added a little bit more gain, should be a bit more sustained now. I like the hot switch. I like the way it thickens everything up a bit. I'm going to take it off though, and I'm going to clean things up. Let's boost the let's boost the level and drop off the gain. I want to hear kind of a clean boost. So I've given you a few tones on the normal and hot switch settings, boosting the gain, taking it away, all that kind of stuff. So let's quickly try it with humbuckers, move over to the dirty amp, see how it affects that, and then we'll bring in another drive pedal and see what happens there. All right, so PRS, and this is down in D standard. That's the clean sound as it is. Throw in the Tumnus Deluxe, everything's reset, back to normal, back to 12 o'clock. Does the push clean thing beautifully well. It's incredibly smooth. What I want to do now is gun the gain, put the hot switch in and see what we get. So let's just do that. So hopefully you could hear there that there's way more than enough gain, even if you're running it on a clean channel, to just handle the biz. It's definitely got a nice response, a nice feel, nice amount of sustain, more than enough mid-range, and definitely more than enough headroom. So that's how the pedal sounds when you put it in front of a clean side. Hopefully that was concise. Now what I want to do is go over to a dirty side and see what happens. Going to stick on the humbucker for now, and then we'll move over to the single coil. So here we go. Okay, this is the VX Kraken straight in. It's like a thick crunch, definitely a lot of saturation, but let's see what happens. I've put everything back to 12 o'clock, let's have a listen. Definitely a great feel. It's like a thick, powerful rock rhythm crunch. For me, that's all about the... It's so powerful. I really like that. So let's hear the difference without touching anything between the normal and hot switch. Very subtle. I think really you can hear it's slightly a little bit warmer, a bit thicker, but that's going to happen more when we push the gain up. So let's see how powerful this EQ is. Now we've got it into a dirty channel. This is the tone. It's definitely like a Cocteau territory when you push the mid up that far. I think the voicing of the EQ is definitely a thumbs up from me, just because I'm really not a fan of pedals where they have EQ and beyond sort of 1-2 o'clock it's unusable, you know what I mean? So that is very good. What do I want to try next? I'm going to try this with the Strat. So I got the Strat, here's what it sounds like straight in. Pretty nice, but what happens when we throw the Tumnus in? I just generally think this pedal sounds great. It's such a good tool. I mean, like I say, it's not drastically changing the sound of my amp. Like... which is exactly what you want this kind of pedal to do. You know, whenever you use these kind of boost overdrives, you don't want them to colour your sound too much, because it's supposed to add a little bit of nice sizzle and sustain and compression on the top. You don't want it to suddenly drastically change things. So yeah, they've nailed the way this thing works and works with their amplifiers and different sounds. So at this point, let's hook it up with another drive pedal and see what happens. Okay, so hopefully you can see on the GoPro I've added the Paisley Deluxe, which is a drive pedal I reviewed recently. I'll put a link in the description box. Basically I figured that, you know, we've tried it with single coils, we've tried it with humbuckers, we've tried it with a clean amp and a dirty amp. I figured the other context you'd be using this if you bought the Tumnus Deluxe would be on a pedal board. So I wanted to show off the EQ and how it affects other pedals. So we're going Paisley Deluxe first, and then out of that the Tumnus. This is without. This is with. Let's throw in the Tumnus. It's definitely added more definition to those bottom notes again. As you can hear, obviously there's a bit of a volume boost there because there's so much headroom on, to be fair, both pedals. What I want to do now is mess around with the EQ, so let's have a listen. I mean, have you ever heard a Strat sound that thick? That's ridiculous. So that's with the Tumnus after the Paisley Deluxe. I think it overloads a little bit, but you know, you can definitely hear the influence of the EQ way loads more. So what I want to try now is putting it before the Paisley Deluxe and see what we get. Okay, so now we've got the Tumnus before the Paisley Deluxe, so let's have a listen and see how it sounds. Well, there you go. There is the Tumnus Deluxe. I think it's fair to say it's a standalone overdrive. It absolutely does what you want it to do. It works just like the Tumnus did, but then you've got that extra dimension of tonality because you've got the 3-band EQ and you've also got the switch between normal and hot. So it does make a difference. You can have it tight, smooth, pushed, you know, all out. It really doesn't matter. And the cool thing is, you know, having tried it in front of a clean amp, a dirty amp and a pedal as well, it can show that the EQ is very influential to the whole signal rather than it just being for the pedal itself, which I really like. You know, you could almost use it like an EQ in a way and then just add a little bit of boost on the top as well by backing off the gain and using the volume as a headroom. So stupidly useful pedal, if you ask me. It's a tool to really shape the way things sound. Have it on its own or within a big complex rig, really doesn't matter. It sounds good, does what it says on the tin. The Tumnus Deluxe is £189 in the UK and $199 in the US, which I think is an absolutely fair price, as all the Wampler pedals are well built and they sound great. So hats off. In any case, really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got anything you want to ask, please put in the comment section below. I'll put all relevant links in the description box. Like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you all very soon.